Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is going to be the official first episode on my channel. Well, besides the intro, I am going to explain. My eye. Sorry. I am going to explain a little bit more about myself and how my journey began and how it is right now. Sorry, that was weird. So yeah, my spiritual journey started when I was 7, and after that was weird. Anyway, sorry, neighbors or whatever. My spiritual journey started when I was 7, and it was right when my grandmother died. I just remember. I remember going to sleep, and well, I had a dream because I was had a dream that she was dying or whatever, and I woke up, and 2 days later, I got a notice from my mom saying that she did die, and I didn't really think anything of it, really, because I was really sad. I'm saying about the dream, like, I didn't really think of it until like maybe 5 years after, maybe. But I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, and then maybe I don't know exactly how many days, but maybe it was a month. I'm not sure. But I had a dream of my grandmother because she loved to cook, and yeah, and so I had a dream of her cooking one of my favorite meals, or she said it was. And I just remember everything being so real. Like I could feel the counter. I just remember feeling the counter. And yeah. Anyways, I remember feeling the counter in was it a chair? I think it was a chair. And I gave her a big hug. And I said, I thought you were gone. And she said, what are you talking about? And I said, why? I think I said I thought you were dead. And then after that, she was about to pull something off the stove, and then I just woke up. Now, I didn't really think of anything of it, but I was like, not crying, but I had tears in my eyes, but, I really liked that dream. But, however, this is where it gets a little interesting. I wasn't the only one that had that dream. My mom had that dream. She also had that dream, except it played out a little bit differently. She was in the kitchen, my grandma was cooking, and she had to tell my grandma that she was dead. Now here's the thing. What's weird is, when I got to her room to explain the dream, was when she said, I had that dream. We both look at each other like, okay, that's weird, that's cool. But me, I was terrified, because as far as I knew back then, people don't have the same dream. Or so I thought. Now, it's happened before, and it's happened again and again, but with different people. And I've learned that was part of my awakening, I believe. But I learned that the more you have a connection with somebody, the more you feel each other and each other's emotions. And I believe that's how I had a dream, the same dream, with my grandma in it. And my mom and me both had the same love for my grandma. And that love was so strong that we had the same dream. So, that's how it started. And then, it just progressed from there, pretty much. To the point where, yeah, it's progressed from there. where I would just know something out of the blue, which is, I believe, intuition. Or yeah, intuition, I believe. And I I remember I was in the car with my mom. We parked in the grocery store of Target, and I walk out of the car because me and my mom are now walking to Target, and I remember just like in my head, out of the blue, someone, because it wasn't me and it wasn't my thought, said, "Watch out." And I'm thinking, what the heck? And then all of a sudden, a car honks at me from the back. I look behind. Sure enough, there's a car and a car behind that car. And that car was honking at me. My mom told me to get out of the road. But how did I know? How did I know there was a car behind me? Or did I even know? Who was that voice? What was the voice? All these questions popped in my head. All I know is that a voice told me, watch out. And I didn't listen, obviously, because I was still in the middle of the road as the car is honking. But here's the thing. I thought over and over and over, is that my conscience? Is that God? Is that an angel? Is it a demon? I keep thinking, until I discovered the answer. It's your higher self. You see, there's a voice in everyone. It may not be physically talking to you, or maybe it is. I've had instances where that voice could be heard by multiple people. I've had instances where that voice is only heard by me, which is most cases. And I've had instances where I'll be outside and someone calls my name, but yet there's no one there. That's your higher self trying to contact you, or it could be something else. But for me, it's my higher self. And you gotta be very careful with these things, because it could not be your higher self. It could actually be something else, which I will not say what it is, because it can be many different things. Is it raining? Really? Alright, anyways, basically, over and over, a voice would pop in my head. Now, you would think that would be considered crazy. I thought so too. My mom put me up in a therapist, and my therapist asked me questions saying like, what does the voice tell you? Does it tell you anything bad? Blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, it never was bad. It was always kind of looking after me. It was... Now, everyone's voice is different. For some people, it can be an emotion. Just an instant emotion out of nowhere. Other people, it's a slight breeze. You look at the wind and you're like, someone's telling me to calm down, or someone's telling me to walk the other way. Or it's your voice as a thought of your thought saying, okay, something's not right. Or it's a vibe saying, okay, something isn't right. It's always something like that. And it's always different for other people. Now, my goal one of my goals in this whole, I'm gonna say it's a series, because why not? Is try to determine if some people that are claimed to be mentally ill, or not mentally ill, maybe, no, not exactly, but maybe considered crazy, mentally ill, or whatever, could be something else entirely. Could it be another form of spiritual awakening? Now, of course, I don't mean mentally ill such as, like, I'm not saying like every single mentally ill person is spiritually awakened. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is, what if when people call, well, not what if, it is true. What if, or, sorry, why do I keep saying what if? If people call you crazy, crazy is just another word for people who don't understand you. If you call yourself crazy, then do you understand yourself? That's a true question. Now, people who call you dumb are people who... people say, when people bully people, they say, like, when they call you dumb, they feel higher than you. But in reality, that's not the case. When people call you dumb, they're agitated because they know you're lower than them. And that you actually might be smarter than them, so they call you dumb because they're insecure. Now, I got off the topic, but I'm saying my spiritual awakening is going to be different from everyone else's. So, if some things I say that happens for me didn't happen for you, maybe because you're on a different path and is leading you to a better future. Yeah. And however, there are stages that people do go through. Not exactly everyone goes through every single phase, not exactly, but there are phases that people have put together to try to understand. And these are the most common ones. My first phase is literally the hardest phase from my spiritual awakening. My first phase was, of course, the hardest phase. And I call that the darkness. Why? Because that's a time when you are about to awaken, but are not fully awakened yet. Because your soul is pushing everything bad in your life back at you to heal from that. So it's kind of like saying, I'm trying to think of an analogy or something to explain it. Hold on. Oh, I got it. No, wait, maybe. Okay, let me try this. A tree, when it gets cut open... No, that's a bad analogy. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is that you have to heal before... Oh, this is a good thing. I got it. I got the analogy. Before a baby can walk, it must first crawl. Right? You don't just be born and then just instantly walk. I don't think anyone's ever done that. Prove me if I'm wrong, though. Anyways. Wait, that's the thing you should look up. Look up and then send it in the comments to see if any person has ever walked when they were born. Man, someone actually did that? Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm trying to say is that before you can awaken and not a lot of people go through this. I mean, a lot of people go through this, but it can be ups and downs, I should say. What I'm trying to say is, the darkness is where all your emotions, either from this life, or the one that you haven't lived yet, or the one that you were living before, which is, I'll explain that in another video, is where all those emotions, all that bad things, all the bad things people have told you, and the things that people have talked behind your back that you don't even know about, is coming back at you into your soul and is fighting. But once you overcome it, you're officially out of the darkness. So it kind of makes sense. Like, my darkness phase was, I was suicidal. That's probably my darkness phase. But once I got out of that, I saw the light. Well, not the actual physical light, but you know what I'm trying to say. The light. And when you see the light, it's the light. Go for the light. Don't hesitate, go for the light. But once you're out of that phase, and these phases come differently. Now, for the people who, in the intro, I have spoken about our instant spiritual awakening, which is you wouldn't go through a darkness phase or a dark phase because you can't. I guess you just went past that phase and many other phases just to get to a spiritual awakening. Which, if that's you, that's good for you because you're actually pretty lucky. Because a lot of people don't get to do that, and there's always a reason for why things happen. There's always a reason, and many times we won't know that reason. Sometimes we will, but many times we won't. But my first phase was the dark phase. And there are many different phases. I believe you can look it up. There are many different phases. I call them different names, but I won't get going into that until next video or some other video. But I'm trying to say is spiritual journey is your journey. That's what I've been trying to say. The spiritual journey you are on is yours and yours alone. If someone tells you you're not good enough, they're wrong. No one, and I mean no one, has the right to tell you you're not good enough. Because I don't care if you're black, white, Mexican, anything, okay? I don't care if you have white hair. I don't care if you have black hair. I don't care if you have red hair. It doesn't matter. Because what makes the best kind of person is yourself. Because if you be yourself, then, well, everything's okay. But don't ever let those people take yourself away from yourself. That sounds really weird, but not like that. Don't ever let those people take who you really are. I've been through that. It sucks. People are gonna bully you. People are gonna take you from the top and try to push you to the bottom. You gotta stop them from doing that. You gotta just keep going. Life is like a mountain. You gotta climb it first. And you always start at the bottom, but you reach your way to the top. You gotta keep climbing that mountain until you reach that top. You will find many different ways to mess up. There will be many different challenges to make you mess up. But you have to keep going. Because what other option do you have? Are you just going to lay there and let the snow cover you up and to never be seen again? Would you just, so the snow keeps piling and piling and piling? No, you got to take a shovel that snow off you, brush it off, keep climbing that mountain. Now it's going to be cold because life is cold. But there's also the sun. Once you get past the cold, chilly clouds, there's always a light. There's always the sun right there. You just need to get high enough to see it. Like, you gotta get up on your feet. You gotta know who you are. You gotta be the best person you can be. Now, there are gonna be people who are gonna call you names, push your buttons. But you gotta not let that hurt you. You gotta just keep going up that mountain. And once you reach that top, it's gonna be the best feeling of your whole entire life. But remember, people will still try to take that away from you. People are gonna try to push you off that mountain. You gotta plant your feet down on the ground. Hold on tight to that top of that mountain and never let go. You gotta reach for the top. And if that's not good enough, keep going to the heavens. You gotta keep going. Just keep going. Sam here. Out.